Dorian Vance had everything: wealth, reputation, and the kind of power that made even rivals hesitate before speaking his name. His businesses stretched across 3 continents, his penthouse rose above the clouds of Manhattan, and the press called him a man who turned stone into gold. But in the quiet hours, when the applause faded, one question haunted him. Was Celeste Marlowe in love with him, or only with what he could provide? Celeste was dazzling. With her poise, her elegance, and her velvet-smooth voice that could charm a room in minutes, she seemed carved from marble. To the world she was perfect, the woman beside Dorian in magazine covers, whispering encouragement at gala dinners, laughing under crystal chandeliers. She smiled like a dream, but Dorian noticed the shadows. When cameras weren't rolling, when the champagne glasses were empty and the photographers gone, Celeste's glow cooled. Her smile sharpened into something rehearsed, her tone clipped into commands. She tilted her glass for servers without eye contact, corrected assistants with the grace of a queen but the coldness of a knife. At first, Dorian gave her grace. Everyone had long weeks, sharp days, but patterns matter. And slowly, the patterns began to stack, tiny, undeniable cracks in the illusion. One morning at the engagement brunch, the penthouse glittered with citrus polish and lilies. Dorian, watch face turned inward, adjusted his cufflinks and watched the city shimmer below. Celeste drifted in, silk dress whispering, perfume sharp as wine. She kissed the air near his cheek, smile directed at the guests rather than him. The staff noticed, too. 2 baristas whispered behind steaming cups. "She's beautiful," one murmured. "But the vibe?" "Cold," the other finished softly. "He seems decent. I hope he sees it before it's too late." Even the doorman said to a porter one afternoon, "She looks like the cover of a magazine, but kindness." "Not sure." The porter shrugged. "Looks fade. Habits don't." Dorian didn't respond, but he heard everything. He had built his empire by testing systems under pressure. A bridge that looks pretty isn't trusted until you drive heavy weight across it. And so he decided he would test Celeste, not with questions, not with accusations. With silence, observation, and one dramatic illusion. The plan began on an ordinary evening. Chandeliers glowed low, the staff was clearing glasses, and laughter from the last guests faded into the night. Dorian loosened his tie, stepping down a quiet hall, when he froze at a door left ajar. Voices slipped through, familiar, sharp. "It's almost done," Celeste whispered. "Marriage, then divorce. The settlement will give me everything." A man's low laugh followed. Damien Crowe, Dorian's longtime business partner. A man he had once trusted with contracts, with late-night deals, with friendship. "You'll be set for life," Damien murmured. "He won't dare enforce the prenup under public eyes." "He's too proud." Celeste's voice was colder than marble. "He'll be paralyzed by shame if nothing else. And when I'm through, we'll own every inch of him." Dorian's fingers tightened on the door frame, but he stepped back silently. Rage boiled, but he swallowed it. He had learned in boardrooms and battlefields of business, never move too soon. Let the market show itself. That night, Rosa, the maid, caught his eye. She had overheard, too. Guilt bent her shoulders. "Sir," she began. "I know," Dorian said softly. "Say nothing more." The gossip began to drift among staff like smoke through walls. "She's after his money," whispered one by the pantry. "He trusts too easily," muttered another by the garage. Dorian stayed silent. He wasn't blind. He was measuring. Within weeks, the illusion of his accident spread like wildfire. A whispered crash, a fracture pressing against his spine. He returned home in a wheelchair, and the world pitied the billionaire brought low. The staff leaned in with compassion. They helped him through doorways, cooked careful meals, offered soft words. But Celeste's mask slipped almost immediately. At first, she played her role, posing by his side, offering gentle words. But in private, her patience thinned. She sighed at his requests, rolled her eyes when she thought no one noticed. She once left him stranded at the bottom of the stairs, claiming she forgot. Another time, she slammed a glass onto the table so hard water spilled over his lap. Pathetic, she muttered under her breath. Dorian said nothing. He let the cruelty build. Soon came Damien. At garden lunches, Dorian pretended to sleep as Damien leaned close to Celeste. "He's nothing now," Damien said softly. "Exactly," Celeste replied. "Once the wedding is sealed, we'll have it all. Then you and I, free." Dorian's jaw clenched, but his eyes stayed closed. "Let them think I'm broken," he thought. "Every word is a weapon they hand me themselves." The cruelty escalated. Meals grew late and cold. Doors were left half open, just wide enough for his wheelchair to snag. Rosa whispered to him one stormy evening, hands trembling around her apron. "Sir, I think they're trying something worse." Damien carried a vial. I heard Celeste say, "He'll never recover." Dorian rested a hand on hers. His voice was calm, but his eyes burned. "You've done enough. Leave the rest to me." The next morning, Celeste accidentally spilled water over his shirt. "Look at you," she sneered. "Pitiful." Damien smirked from the corner, silent, enjoying the cruelty. Dorian sat still, heart hammering, but his face calm. Every insult was another nail in their coffin. At last, the wedding day arrived. The church was dressed like a fairy tale, ivory roses, gold trim, candlelight shimmering against stained glass. Guests whispered, awed by the sight of Dorian wheeled down the aisle, suit pressed, jaw strong despite his frailty. To them, he was a man beaten but brave. Celeste floated in white silk, veil trailing like a crown. Damien smirked from the groomsman's row, victory close enough to taste. The vows began. "Do you promise to love him in sickness and in health?" the officiant asked. Celeste's pause was too long. Her smile too thin. "I do," she whispered, voice not of love but calculation. And that was when Dorian moved. Slowly, deliberately, he placed his hands on the chair and pushed himself upward. One step, then another. Strong, steady. Gasps thundered through the church. Celeste's face drained of blood. Damien froze, his smirk gone. Dorian's voice carried deep and unshaken. "For months I let you reveal yourselves. I heard your whispers, your insults, your plans. You thought my weakness was your ladder. Today, it is your mirror." At that signal, uniformed officers stepped forward from the side aisles, evidence in hand. Rosa's testimony, recordings of conversations, vials poisoned with intent. Celeste struggled, veil slipping, her perfect mask shattering as cuffs closed around her wrists. Damien shouted, but the officers silenced him with iron grip. Guests whispered in horror. "She planned this all along." With his partner. Unbelievable. Dorian stood tall. No chair beneath him, no weakness left to feign. He faced the stunned congregation and said, voice steady as stone, "Wealth can buy a stage, but only character fills it. True love never spits on weakness. It stands when everything else falls." The silence after was heavy, broken only by Rosa's quiet sob of relief from the back pew. The fairy tale ended, not with vows, but with truth. And Dorian Vance proved that real love isn't measured by riches or perfection, but by loyalty when the world thinks you're at your weakest. If this story made you think twice about trust and betrayal, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you never miss the next twist. And share it with someone who needs the reminder, because stories like this aren't just entertainment, they're lessons.